Okay. I think this is working. How do I look? Look smoother. Yeah. I think we're smooth. I think we're looking good. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Cool. I'll keep an eye on things, but hopefully this fixes it. And I'll do my best to get somewhere that has a better connection next week. Let me blow my nose. Eventually we'll be able to get into a bit of a flow here. Okay. And I'll have a sip of coffee. So a bit of a move down on our New York Open here. I'm going to remove these Monday levels. We don't need those. Bitcoin. Get rid of the position. And there will be, I'm going to leave this on the chart because if it does start dropping, then it does bring us back into potential for shorts once again. I hope that's not going to be the case. I hope that's not going to happen. But it does, there is still potential there that this fails. And we do not get the continuation that we're looking for. Of course, yesterday was when I was live, there was the opportunity for the long, which played out very, very nicely. So if anyone took the long yesterday on the FOMC news, dipping into that 4-hour gap, closing back above it, very clear invalidation if we lose 95k, and looking for continuation up towards 102k. So if anyone took that trade yesterday, then congrats, very well done. That played out very nicely indeed. And yeah, we're just seeing how this goes here. So of course we're at 100k. Things are pretty high right now. When you look at indices, they are also at range highs. This is very, very, very similar to what we saw during COVID, where we just had this V-shaped recovery. We did consolidate for some time, and then there was continuation higher. So I am expecting like a similar kind of thing to be playing out on the macro here, where we're not looking anymore at big dips. What I would like to see, and what I think the probabilities are suggesting now, because we broke through significant resistance and because the move up yesterday was breaking through that point of control, we have to be trading the trend and we have to be looking for higher right now. So yeah, things are at resistance, but it is one of those times when for every time we get a candle like this, it's just further invalidating any bearish ideas. So I think there will be clearly a lot of short stops. There would have been a lot of short stops above these highs. They've been taken. There will be further short stops above 100k. And if this starts to push really beyond 100k, then I think things can start to just speed up and start to escalate quite quickly. So yeah, I'm bullish until we see any kind of weakness here. The move up that we had overnight is pretty good. So let's just see how it goes. I'm going to have a look at the rest of the market as well, because Ethereum has been really, really nice. So Ethereum's still been pushing higher today. ETH BTC is looking good. So this again from FOMC yesterday, we did sweep what were like a series of equal lows into some nice imbalance below. ETH USDT did the same thing, right? You did come down, you took internal liquidity. We got that bit of a dip yesterday, and we are getting continuation. So I do have higher targets for this. I am looking for Ethereum up towards about 2,600 if this can get continuation. We have taken out some highs. We are within an imbalance once again, but I think there's potential for this to go higher still. So we just have to wait and see what happens here. See how the markets react today. See how the markets react on news. See what there is to trade. Lucifer, warn the crew about a huge move on ETH. Suck my balls, right? You know, yeah, The Ethereum's a real interesting one, right? We've been looking for this for a long time, that 2020 yearly level. Okay, as soon as we started to basically, as soon as this wick failed, then there was really nowhere else for this to go apart from that 2020 yearly. So when you zoom out, right, we had this wick that just came down. We thought, okay, is that the low? Is that the capitulation? And then we just got continuation lower, 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 lower. And it's really interesting that that is the point in which the entire market pivoted, was on Ethereum. And of course, yesterday we also had a big ETH upgrade. So, and the fact that like the market has been so dead, usually these kind of things would be a bit of a sell the news. So you have this big upgrade on the second largest asset in the whole space, probably the largest asset in the whole space, because Bitcoin is a bit of a different beast. Ethereum is really like crypto, yeah. And had this big upgrade. Often that would be a sell the news, but of course it had been selling the news for the longest time, and because the market has been so dead, we're getting a really decent reaction off of that. So it's very intriguing to see how Ethereum does. Even if it just starts to recover this year's price action, then it can double its potential gains against Bitcoin over the next few months. So I will be watching that very closely. I am still expecting this to get continuation up towards 2,600, which would be really, really, really good. But of course, we need Bitcoin as the big daddy to be holding here. And for Bitcoin to be holding here, then we need the major indices, risk assets in general, to be holding here. And we need stuff like gold to be cooling down as well. So we can look at the gold chart, because gold has, of course, been flying recently. But, I do believe that we may have had our top on gold, and it is from a technical level as well. So gold reaching the 2 extension on the macro. So if I just set this to take away balance adjusted, from high to low, you've hit that 2 extension up here. All right. After getting some consolidation around the 1.141, then again around the 1.618, where we thought there could be a potential top back there. This was the start of last year, and then you have trade tensions escalating, and 3,500 being again a big psychological level. 3,000 was a big psychological level. It blasted through. You quite often see tops that far exceed what the market is like expecting that it would exceed, and it has been parabolic, but now that has started to lose some of this parabolic advance. You got a decent rise back up into this wick here, so it'll be really interesting to see what happens with gold. But yeah, market in general is looking promising. Let's see if the Nasdaq can catch a bid here. This could quite easily go a little bit lower. There's like nothing concerning going on here. It has gapped up. We turn on. So we do have this gap. So a little bit of a dip could be expected. As long as Bitcoin really holds this structure up here, then we'll be looking for another test at 100k later today. Right, what I'm going to do, we're going to watch the NQ for a while. I'm going to tell you guys how I would look to trade this. Right now, there's nothing to trade. Taken London lows, extending below it slightly. That gap fills quite a lot lower. Very slow open. So usually at the start of the New York session, I'm looking for some kind of range to form. We don't yet have any kind of range that's formed. I want to see some spike in volume, a bit of excess at the lows. That's a bit better. Find a potential pivot. Why is volume not working? This could be our pivot. It's 20 minutes to form an opening range. I don't know if I like that. And it's wide. It's very wide. So far, this is a day that I would sit out so far and just monitor, just watch what's going on. Whilst NQ's messing around, just going to see if there's any levels of interest on BTC here. Like I say, if we're gonna see higher prices, we don't want to see pullbacks. So daily open, there should be absolutely no need to be going down there. We are clearly on a trending day, so test of VWAP's going to be a buy, whatever happens. We're getting close to that VWAP. So let's put an alert on the VWAP. So if we do get VWAP tested, that would be looking good. Currently just chilling around our daily point of control. Right now this is a little bit preemptive, but I do feel that we've probably put in a low for this initial balance. So I would probably have attempted a long here. It is a little bit preemptive. We don't yet have a range, but I would expect a range to form at some stage. And this is taking a while. So this is one of those things where I'm just, for those of you who are in the crew who know the way that I trade this, usually you'd wait for a range to form. There hasn't been one that's formed yet, so I am preempting this low as being the pivot that will start to form a range here. It's not something I would usually do. I would usually wait for a rotation up towards the highs and would look for a short as the first trade of the day. But I'm gonna put this on here because I want to talk through something that's interesting to see if, because I liked what we saw down there. We had a bit of a spike and then we had a decent recovery higher. So this is something that I would long. I am assuming we have a low that's going to hold for the remainder of the initial balance now. But but it's preempting things somewhat. There would have been opportunities to have got out with profit again here. So when you come back to these range lows, you get these opportunities to get out with profit. And you'd also be needing to look at other things. I would imagine that I mean, if this does bounce up to the midpoint, then you've got VWAP there for the session. It's a kind of see money, take money. You had the dip back down towards these lows. You have an opportunity to TP on this. But see how this goes. BTC, still waiting. ETH. Altcoins are something interesting as well here. Let me just place a couple of alerts. So I can just scan around. Does anyone want me to look at any altcoins or anything in the meantime? Also doing this. This is slightly aggressive. Tau. Nice one. ZRO. Nice one. Two altcoins that I do have long positions on right now. Let me just give this another 1 minute, see if this continues. And then we've just started the day. For those who are trading the indices, for those who are using the chop trading technique, as an example of how you can get into it, how you can find a range before it forms and get the trade before you even have a range to trade. So I am Mr. Magic Man today. Once again, I 100% would be taking profit on this, but we're going to leave it to see if it meets the overall TP for this trade to be complete, which will be a test of VWAP here and coming into this channel. So look at that. We got the chop range before it even gave us a range. Very nice. So that's your target. We're going to call that a win regardless. Come on, just get into the channel. Prove me right to the tick, not just front running slightly. 50 cents below what the target for this would be. Come on, push a little higher. Let's be greedy. There we go. Good, good. All right, so that's win number 1. So once again, those of you who are in the crew know this strategy. This is my strategy. Nobody else in the entire world that I know of trades this way. This is just my brain understanding that the market is range bound far more than it is not. So you can anticipate that everything is a range all the time, and you can trade everything as a range. And even if you have a trending move, you'll still have opportunity to take profit. And look at that. As soon as you get that move into target, you get the drop straight away. So the alert went off. This would have been a TP on that trade. And now you're right down to the lows again. So really nice. You've got another possible opportunity to long this if there's a sweep at these lows. So once again, you're looking down here. You have an invalidation that would be down here with a move back towards the midpoint. But because we've had an internal long, I'd look for something external probably at this stage, because we're still not sure if this is a range that's going to form out of this. But it's certainly looking like we do have an initial balance low, or close to an initial balance low so far. Back to BTC. Are we going to get a move down into the VWAP? Let's look at some old coins. Tau, USDT. Oh yeah, lovely. Remove everything. Let's do some fresh TA on stuff. Unless I have a chart that's a little bit more up to date. No, I don't. Let's use this. Something with some history behind it. That's the one. That's the one I want to watch. It's a MEXC chart, but I'm gonna TA this one. So Tau. Let's mark off some high time frame levels, monthly. And a monthly. That's all we need there. Slam one on the top. And weekly levels. Weekly. Got a nice weekly OB here. I've got a nice gap down here. Daily. Swept that. We have. Okay. So it's a resistance. It is at resistance. And you got a big old cluster of resistance here. And give you up from the highs. Break through it. That's nice. That's really nice. Moving averages at the 200 daily. SMA. Above the 200 daily EMA. Which ones had more? Which one does this prefer? So SMA 200's never really done much. So although it's like poking into it now, if you look back over history, it's never really done very much on that particular chart. So shift this to the EMAs. Does that look a little bit cleaner? Certainly a touch there, touch there, touch there. So I'd use EMAs for Tau, and in which case we're above the EMAs and they're both curling upwards. We're above the anchor VWAP from all-time high, not all-time high, but highs. But we're at local resistance, so things are looking good. Things are looking good. It's above like the main stuff. And again, the whole market seems to have done this. We had this consolidation, and today's been the day where it's just pushed beyond. Hey, I'm going to mark another. I'm going to put another alert on this. Just wanted to see where NQ was. So once again, if you hadn't taken profit on the long from back here, and there was another opportunity to do it. Never got that long, but yeah, whatever. Back to Tau. Yeah, it looks good. So for me, I am already long on this. I have a long from $250. All right. So I do have a long from 250. This was actually before we broke down. So I was long after this sweep, after taking these lows, and I was buying within this consolidation. And I just sat this out, just waited it out. Because I wasn't scared. Like, if anyone remembers what was happening back here, I wasn't scared. I was just like, look, there's just nothing we can do. If we're positioned and we've got into positions here, you just have to wait it out. And that's what we did, and now we're being rewarded for it. So, of course, I could have got a much better entry. But it is what it is. Don't really care. Making profit from it eventually now. There was certainly at no stage was this as a long idea being invalidated, because I am expecting BitCenter, BitTensor, Tau to be going towards like $1,000 over the course of the remainder of this cycle anyway. So that's pretty good. So yeah, in terms of levels, we're there. You want to be taking profit on this. You've got a little cluster here. You've got a weekly level. You've got a monthly level up here. Volume. Let's look at volume since all-time high. Above it, right? And the next high volume node is up here. So let's see. Again, it's looking decent. Right, it's looking decent. Certainly, if you get higher up towards 450, and you're long from down here, if you haven't taken profit already, if you want to be aggressive on profit taking, then I think because it's taken out this and you've come into a little bit of a gap on the daily, the start of this breakdown, then I'd say just take profit anyway. Because if this is to be one big ass bull trap, you don't want to get caught with your pants down, having not taken profit on anything. Or if you want to just be set, if for myself, I'm long from here. So I have taken profit on this already, like I say. And if we were to lose key levels, and that would be coming down below around about $360 again, then I would close out that trade and I'd look for a re-entry around 280. Would I close the trade? Actually, no, I wouldn't close the trade, because I think support would be around 280, which would still be above my entry anyway. So you take profit, and then there's an opportunity to compound if this is to drop lower. So Tau's looking really nice. I'm bullish on it as a project overall. It is one of the leaders in AI. So yeah, I like it. I like it. That's looking like a good little chart. ZRO, another one that I like from a more fundamental perspective, because a lot of the market relies on it. And once again, I am in a long on this already. So if I find this one, then ZRO long. Funnily enough, I'm not actually in profit on this trade yet. So I am still waiting. This has been gradually accumulating. So that is the position. I'm 1% down on 5x leverage. So my entry is like right here. But again, it's this idea, right? So the trigger for this was coming into this daily gap around the golden pocket. And then for me, it's just been a gradual accumulation, right? So a gradual accumulation around this range has left me with an average that's at the price that it is now. But I think that this setup looks good, right? I think that looks like a nice setup, a nice trade. If it drops lower, then you get invalidated on the idea, and it's taking a long time to play out, like a lot of these things are. But I like that as a setup, as an idea. So once again, it's one that I shared, but I shared like a month ago. So I haven't necessarily been keeping up with it so much. NQ has dropped down and taken out those lows. So once again, that would be probably a long. So let's see how that goes. That's where the alert is there. So straight away, I would just take this without thinking. And once again, you see money take money sometimes. You get a decent reaction. The first like 1 to 4 minutes is when you want to be out of a trade like this. So if you get a decent pop like that within 30 seconds, probably would have already taken profit on it, depending on how many contracts you go long with. But let's see if it can get a decent bounce once again here. That's always the thing. I'm just looking for a reaction. And do we have... I guess we could be like... Again, like I say, we haven't actually rotated up towards these highs yet, so it's probably still not a range. So you still want to be aggressive on TPs, whatever's going on here, because you don't actually have like a range here. I'm just assuming it would become a range, right? And if not, then we start trending, and then we look for something that's a bit more like this. In fact, I don't know, you know, I'd be long in it still. But you got that 50 EMA. It's causing some pressure. Actually, that is causing some pressure. Pressure. Zero, let's get back to this. Yeah, so that's the idea for Zero. Let's look at the rest of the chart here. Not much on high time frames to be talking about. Yeah, I don't know. That one, right? Yes, depending on how the whole market goes here, I think it's one of those that's looking good. Zero. Cool. Did you hear about Tau subnets, DTAU? I mean, I've heard about subnets. I don't really understand or know anything about that. I'm not like a technical, like that kind of guy. I trade charts. I don't really know what's beneath those charts in terms of technology. Fucking hell, whiff looks nice. Jeez. This is where this is where you could start to FOMO on some stuff, right? Because of the massive upside potential of some of these tokens. Wow. Okay. Right. Whiff. Damn. It does look really good. It does look really, really good. You just look at the structure that's got right down here. I mean, from a real simple thing, it's an inverse head and shoulders. Yeah? On a weekly. You have huge climax in selling, and then you take out lows again on lower volume. And we're basically, that week is significant. Like this week here is a real significant like block that we're trading back within side. So if you're looking at a reaccumulation going on, anything within this zone to me looks like fair game to be buying. Invalidation is down here at 30 cents. Now, of course, that is going to be a 50%. And if you're buying around here, yeah, that's like a 50% drawdown on a position. But the potential reward for this is insane. It's massive. You can probably narrow this down even more. So as long as it's trading within here, you're looking pretty good, right? So you have this like PO3 type of thing where you have accumulation, manipulation, distribution, AMD, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, WIF looks really nice. Really, really nice. And again, the last couple of days would have been the opportunity to have got into some longs here. If there is to be another dip, right, you're in this maybe daily OB, probably not daily OB. It's probably just gonna range around here for a while. But yeah, looks nice. Looks nice. As far as levels go, then the time where this really starts to speed up is if it breaks above 80 cents. And then you're looking at just repricing all the way back up towards like $2.40. And then that $2.40 is going to line up around like the midpoint of, it'll be around the 0.5, right? Yeah, $2.50, the 0.5. VWAP from highs, long way off. So I maybe look for some just further accumulation around here, an opportunity to just position, get into a position. There's absolutely no way now. Like, I mean, if the market does not reverse here, if Bitcoin stays above 95 and indices continue to go a little bit higher and things start looking good here, then there's absolutely no way why anything should be returning back down to the lows that we put in last month, previous quarter, whatever those lows were. So you can be accumulating things now. Yeah. I don't know. There's not too much I have to say on this. You got massive imbalance above, and it will just blast through that at some point. So it looks good. Yeah, that's one of those that I would... Doge is a similar one. When you're talking about dog coins, it's similar. Yeah, you have a real similar structure whereby you had this downtrend. Long downtrend since the end of last year, where you were making high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, high, low, internal, all right, not yet a higher high, internal, because to be making a higher high, you'd be trading up here, All right, that is the high that took this low. So that is market structure. That is the high. But to me, that means that right here is a really good time to buy, because at the very least, price should be coming up and testing this. So Doge, you would absolutely expect continuation on this up towards 20 cents. Now the reason for that is because it's the first time that you've actually got acceptance within a previous range. So previously, right, within all of these occasions, if you look at this, and this is just a real simple way to mark off structure and anticipate where a reversal can happen. When you look at what has happened previously, you have a range that breaks down, you test back into it, you do not accept inside at any stage again, you get continuation lower. You then have this range. What happens? You break down, you get no acceptance back inside that range, you form a new one, you come back in, you test it, you go lower, you come back in, you test it, you go lower. So on every single time since we've been back in December, it's been high, low, never gets back inside the previous range, never gets back inside, never gets back inside, never gets back inside. Now what's happened? Okay, this is the range that broke down here. Where is price trading now? So you break down, you flip back into it, and now you're trading within previous value. Okay, so that's how trends start to reverse. You don't have to look for a break in market structure, you just have to look at where the acceptance is, and clearly there was no more selling to be had down here. That was where fair value was. This was that took out that any people that were positioned early, you create that capitulation, you get people out of the market, then you're trading back within value. This is what the market is establishing as fair price. There was no more two-sided trading to be done down here. It went too low. And that was across the whole market. It went too low. It just couldn't sustain those lower prices. And then we popped back into value of like the previous range. So now, the fact that we're trading back within there for the first time makes me think that we're going to break that structure. So I believe, and the market's looking really good, that we're going to get a move back up here. So Doge, one of those that I think today maybe is not the day to be doing it. All right, because we have had a big pump today, and it is day one of kind of the invalidation of bearish ideas. So a clean break for now, a clean break above 96, above that point of control. But it's psychological resistance at 100K. Indices are at range highs, all of those kind of things. So today might not be the day to be getting into these positions. Wait and see how things go. But if this thesis, if the idea that we're going to be seeing new all-time highs again, that this is going to continue to move higher, is going to play out, then you're going to get opportunities to buy within this range here on Doge. And then what we should be seeing is, like this chart shows, is some kind of actual break in market structure, some kind of consolidation above. And that's the time where you can start to average in with more confidence here, because you've clearly changed the trend, and then you can be looking at continuation much, much higher. So that's kind of where I see things going for this. Anything that you see that's trading back within value, like previous value, should get a pop-up to change that market structure overall. We've seen situations where this has happened in the past, right? It was very, very similar on Doge back here. So if I just, again, remove all of this, what did you have back here? And there's precedent for this. It happens all the time. Right, you have downtrend, high, low, high, low, high, low, trades back within value. All right, so back here, you're testing into a previous range high, you drop lower, you're testing into a previous range, you're dropping lower. And then what do? You get a bounce back in towards this range. Okay, you just sweep lows, you're back inside this area, you don't get continuation lower. You consolidate around here, you start ranging, and then you break out and you just go for it. Yeah. So we're looking at something similar happening. This has been a much longer process. Actually, it hasn't taken longer to happen. It's kind of similar actually when you look at it. Very similar. So I would say that the market right now is probably like here. Yeah. What's happening now looks to be something similar to what happened around here, or maybe even here. So to me, reaccumulation, and we're expecting higher prices, and where that takes Doge, who knows? I'm thinking, like, for me, call me crazy, $1. I want to see this go to $4.20. It would be crazy if it does happen. But yeah, it's looking decent. It's had a very, very long correction. And yeah, looks good. How about ton? I'm long hype from 12.13. Where would you compound if we get the dip? Yeah, so I just said that, right? I don't know what the chart was. If there is to be a dip, then it would be around, like, it's like kind of where your entry is. So now's a good time to take profit, and then you can just get back in a position around the same price. 13, 14, 12 to 14, if there's to be a dip. Ton. Yeah, interesting, right? For ton, to me, the volatility is still probably a little bit too high when you compare it to something like Doge or WIF, which has been consolidating for a lot longer. The volatility looks to still be quite high on this. So again, it's one of those things that, right, if the market reverses, things are going to do well. You had a really clear downtrend here that got broken, and you're back testing that. Market structure is a bit of a weird one, right? Because the high that took the low is some random wick. Oh, new subscriber. Thank you very much, Davor Popovic, for subscribing. Welcome to the channel. Yeah, it's a weird looking chart. It's a weird looking chart, but it's another one of those things where if you're expecting that things are going to be looking decent for everything, then why not start to position yourself into an asset if this is one of those ones that you like. So what you have on the daily is clearly a sweep of lows, and then immediately, okay, you recover that, you break the downtrend, and then you get a real deep retrace that looks very, very nice indeed. It's around about the golden pocket. Looks lovely from that perspective. Now, today, again, one of those days where you're probably it's already a bit too high. And I would say, like, if I'm going to hazard a guess, like, let's say the market remains bullish for the next few weeks or something, I think this is going to struggle to get a breakout. I think that what we could find is that it lags against other stuff. If you get a move up towards like $3.70, $3.80, you're probably going to struggle to get back through there, and then you look to just continue this range for a little bit longer. Other stuff's been yeah, it's just big, right? That swing from here to here is big, and I think you just need some kind of compression from this before you get a much like larger breakout later on. Whereas there was other stuff that had like big drops earlier and then has just had that been through that compression a little bit more recently. So yeah, it looks okay. It's not one of the ones where, like, if I compare it to WIF or Tau or Doge, I probably would prioritize looking at those assets right now, because I don't think that the potential for a big move up is there as much on this as it is on other stuff. I think maybe you come back to this June, July, August, and I would imagine it's probably trading around the same price in the next few months. So just because of how wide that is, and I don't think it's ready to break out, but you never know. Yeah. So just, you can chill out on something like this. I think that you go through another couple of months of accumulation before it'll be ready for any bigger move. And there's quite a lot of stuff that still looks like that. Okay, so there are things that either look completely like cooked and you got to get some kind of mean reversion or whatever, but this already had that. Yeah, already had a really big bounce, a deep retrace, and now you look for compression. And you can just compare the structure. When you look at this and you think from low to high, it's 80%. It's a big fucking range. But if you compare that to WIF, for example, that I was looking at earlier, it's much, much, much more narrow. Okay. So you've been going through this for some time. Well, the compression's already there. Doge, another example. It's much more narrow. All right, you watch my videos about XO. Nice. Yeah, XO is not something I use very much anymore, but I'm glad it's still helping people. Just gonna get some water. One moment. I am back. Cool. Okay, it's pretty quiet in here. Need to get some more consistency on these streams again. So we get more viewers. I want to see that number being back above 100, being above 200, being above 300, being 1,000 people watching. And today we don't have that, and we've got people dropping off now. So any more questions? Any other things that people want to see me cover? Anything else you guys want to ask? Lucifer, I discovered Market Monkey terminal earlier today. Pretty cool free homebrew terminal that can run in browser or locally with DOM and orders similar to Trading Light. That's nice. There's another one that's free. The Kitakaya, or however you do it. The one that I'm working with the guys over there. Kiyotaka. Which is similar, order book software, order book platform with that kind of thing. That's really nice. But I'll check out Market Monkey. Sounds good. Because Trading Light sucks. The website was down for like 2 weeks. The devs, it's similar kind of thing to EXO, right? They made a fuckload of money. They stopped developing it, and they sailed off into the sunset, and just not putting in the time and effort to keep their platform up to date, to keep it relevant. So if you guys have Trading Light subscriptions, just cancel that shit. It's just not worth it. There's better alternatives out there now. I'm working with the guys over at Kiyotaka. I've shared this within the crew again. It's free to join, but I'll check out Market Monkey as well. That sounds pretty cool. Kevin, are you still traveling? Yes, I am. I am. So I'm still in front of a laptop, one screen, trying my best to trade and do everything whilst I'm out here. So yeah, I am still traveling, and no plans to stop anytime soon. When next stream? Good question. I really hope I can get back to doing these daily again. I really do hope I can get back to doing these daily again. So let's see. The problem I have is that, like, right now it's already 10:30 in the evening, and it's only New York Open. So the time zone is not ideal. As the market starts to pick up and as things start to get more interesting again, then it becomes a lot easier to do those streams, because I want to be in front of the computer. I want to be trading it anyway. But yeah, like, the time where I stream is at the end of my day now rather than at the beginning of my day. So I'd say, like, I can promise you guys we're looking at like a good like couple of streams per week again now, and trading rooms and much more activity. So especially after seeing this move, I think things are looking good again. Things are looking interesting again. So I had a nice break from actively trading crypto. There just wasn't a lot going on, and now I think there's a real good chance that we get a good 6 to 8 months of very nice price action out of this. And I'm still looking at like October, November of this year as being like a cycle high. But then the opportunities continue on for a few months after things top out. And that's when you get a mad alt season after Bitcoin tops out. I'm still looking at that kind of scenario here. So things should be good up until end of this year. So yeah, plenty of chance to plenty of time. So yeah, a few streams per week I'm gonna aim for. If I can get back to a daily, that'll be awesome. But I need reliable internet connection everywhere I go, which isn't easy. I need some kind of stability, which isn't easy. And I need viewers to motivate me. Which is also difficult, because without consistency with streaming, it's hard to get more viewers. And without more viewers, it's hard to get consistency with streaming. NM, you're also expecting a big crash this year as many others. We've already had it. So, no. We've already had it, in my opinion. We've had the big crash. It's done. I think markets probably still top out this year, later in the year. But that's not going to be the big crash. That's just going to be a top. And then we go into the next bear market afterwards. And then the crash happens a couple of years down the line when bear market depths are here and we're trading back down at $70,000 or whatever. Yeah. Because at some stage, the chart's going to be back down here again and you get a big crash, but I think that happens a long time in the future, right? I think what we're going into now is the final big ass, big run. 9,300 yearly NPOC 2020. Yeah. No. No. Like, yeah, we're going to go through a bear market again. But you're never going to see, like, it is never. And I can say this with absolute confidence. You will never, ever see that yearly NPOC hit. It just will never happen. Now, I'm prepared to... I will eat my words if it ever does happen. But that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. COVID lows on ES with new bear market. Again, no. No. Never going to happen. Like, COVID lows. Seriously, the only way that we can get that that kind of thing, a return to COVID lows, a move back down to 10K on Bitcoin is war with China, right? And Taiwan being invaded and networks go down. Power grids go down, and there is war. That is it. That's like you cannot do that kind of thing. It just will not happen without something like that going on. There's just no. It just can't happen. And if you just look at the way that just the money flows, it simply cannot happen with any kind of normal conditions. So we don't know what's going to happen in the future. With dollar collapse and US bankruptcy, why not? Yeah, exactly. So if there's war and the dollar collapses and there's US bankruptcy or whatever, then yeah, sure. But the chances of that happening is so slim. Like, it's just not worth even thinking about. And if that was to happen, we're all fucked anyway. Like, so, like, okay, prices, like, things come back down to here. And what the hell was that? Did anyone else just get like a flashing, pulsing light on the stream? Anyone just see that? I was just watching because I've got my stream running on my iPad, and I just saw like some like light. What was it? I have no idea. Did anyone else see that? What was it? I don't know what it was. Was it another subscriber or something? No, because I don't know. It's the aliens, Luke. Yeah, maybe. It's the beginning of the power outage. Yeah. Yeah, like I say, it can't happen. Yeah, a bear market will take us like at some stage we may see a return to this low. Depends on how much things mark up over the next like 6 to 8 months or whatever. We'll have to see where things are. It's just no. No, 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 no. Better prepare for the bear market. Yep. Right. Okay, I see the questions are starting to get a little bit chilly. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much, guys, for joining. And I will see you guys again very soon. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.